Namaste and good evening to everyone. It is always a great feeling when you complete your learning. I'm extremely delighted to welcome you all for the final assessment session for workplace communication batch 1 people. Today our young professional Mr. Kush Trivedi will take you through the proceedings. Before I hand over the session, let me give a brief introduction of him. Kush Trivedi is a 15-year-old aspiring singer. He has completed class 10 from NIOS in Jan 2022 and is now pursuing his class 12. Along with academics, Mr. Kush is also pursuing Sangeet Prabhakar in Hindustani classical vocal and tabla from Prayag Samiti, Allahabad. Over to you, Mr. Kush, to take the session further.
Namaste and a very good evening to all of you. Prakramika Vocational Institute, formerly known as PVI, welcomes you all for the much awaited panel discussion, inclusive workplace and interactive session hosted by our workplace communication professionals. As usual, we begin the function by invoking the blessings of God by lighting the lamp. I request our special guest advocate Jharna Jagtiani, our beloved participants and parents to join the virtual lighting of the lamp. May I request the IT team to do the needful. Thank you, ITT. I now call upon the Director of Prakramika Vocational Institute, Dr. Gayatri Narasimhan, to give welcome address to the gathering.
Thank you so much, Kush. Namaste, and again, a very, very good evening to all of you. It gives us a great pleasure when we finish a batch, when we finish a module for our professionals, the hardworking professionals. We at Prakramika, we've been conducting various modules to empower our children and to include them at the workplace. And it's been very nice and great learning experience for us also to learn from our professional and from their parents who are so hardworking. I must always say the credit goes to the parents behind the child who have been pushing and giving them the space to work. I am immensely happy today to announce the completion of our workplace professionals, a 4-month-long module course. Today we are so happy. And as a part of their final assessment, they are all set for this panel discussion. And for this, I welcome Jharna Jagtiani madam to this platform. Thank you so much, ma'am, for agreeing, for consenting to be our special guest to encourage our professionals who've been working hard. It gives us a great pleasure to welcome you to this platform. I thank all my dear professionals for the hard work, for the trust you all have had, and I welcome each and every one of you for this assessment session. I warmly welcome all my dear parents. Without you all, you may not be in the forefront in the screen, but definitely we feel your presence at every time, at every activities we see with the children. So thank you all for that support. Without you all, Prakramika is nothing. And as I say, this is one family. I welcome you all wholeheartedly for this platform. Namaste. And over to you, Mr. Kush, to take the proceedings further.
I am extremely delighted to introduce our special guest advocate, Jharna Jagtiani. Ms. Jharna Jagtiani is a qualified lawyer and a certified mediator by Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. She is a certified POSH Trainer and Enabler. She conducts a POSH training and awareness programs. As an independent practitioner, her work involves assisting startups, small and medium-sized enterprises to set up their internal management and consumer dispute resolution system. As an ADR practitioner, she has handled cases as so arbitrator and have facilitated private mediations as a legal consultant. She offers legal solutions to individuals, small businesses, corporations, departments, and firms with support on compliance, litigation, operation, contract review, research, and consulting. She is startup consultant at Pixilets at a result-oriented and community-driven digital support for solopreneurs, small businesses, and budding studentpreneurs, helping to empower and create powerful digital footprints organically. She assists startups, NGOs, incubation centers, businesses, and government entities across the globe to scale their online presence while helping with community building as well. She is also co-founder of Prerna Foundation, a socio-legal initiative started with an objective to ease the access to justice for people at large and aims to work towards and increase the awareness of mediation as a primary mode of resolving any dispute. She has organized a mediation outreach program at Maharashtra, National Law University Mumbai and MIT Law University Mumbai. She has been associated with various prestigious law schools spread across the country. She is a mediation coach at Indian Merchant Chambers, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, a century-old leading chamber of commerce for 40 hours basic mediator training workshop, assistant researcher and mediation trainer at Praveen Gandhi College of Law, Mumbai for certificate program in conflict resolution via mediation. She is awarded best research paper title for paper 6 Arts of Mediator at a national youth conference. She has also participated in American Bar Association's Mediation Week and Arbitration Week. Recently, she has been awarded Nai Shakti Samman Award for women empowerment by helping women to start, grow, and sustain their dream ventures at Janki Conclave and Award 2021 to 2022. I now invite Madam Jharna Jagtiani for the panel discussion. Welcome, Madam, to the PVI platform. We are very much privileged to have you here. I will call our professionals one by one with a brief introduction on them. First, I request Mr. Hushraf to share his question with our special guest. Mr. Hushraf has completed HSC Commerce, enjoys audio video editing with animation and HTML, CSS coding. Over to you, Mr. Hushraf.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. And good evening, madam. Can you tell us?
Good evening. Good evening.
Can you tell us what is the legal framework in India which facilitates inclusion of special needs community in the workplace of organization?
Sure. So under Article 15, subclause 2 of Constitution, there shall be, equal opportunity for all citizens, including people with special needs, in matters relating to employment or appointment to any office under the state. Also, Article 24 prohibits employment of children, including ones with special needs below the age of 14 years, to work in any factory or mine or to engage in any other hazardous employment. Even a private contractor acting for government cannot engage children below age of 14 in any such employment. Coming to the rights of people with special needs, though they have not been clearly spelled out so well in the labor legislation, but provisions which cater to the disabled in their relationship with the employer are contained in delegated legislation such as rules, regulations, and standing orders. The Person with Disability, Equal Opportunities Protection of Rights and Full Participation Act 1995. It had come into enforcement on Feb 7, 1996. It is a significant step which ensures equal opportunities for people with disabilities and their full participation in nation building. This act provides for both preventive and promotional aspects of rehabilitation, like education, employment, and vocational training, reservations, research, and manpower development, creation of barrier-free environment, rehabilitation of persons with disability, unemployment allowance for disabled, special insurance scheme for the disabled employees, and establishment of homes for persons with severe disabilities, and many more other aspects mentioned in the Act. Also, 3% of vacancies in government employment shall be reserved for people with disabilities, 1% each for the person suffering from blindness or low vision, hearing impairment, locomotor disabilities, or cerebral palsy. Suitable scheme shall be formulated for training and welfare of people with disabilities. The relaxation of upper age limit in certain cases, health and safety measures, and creation of non-handicapping environments in places where persons with disabilities are employed. No employee can be sacked or demoted if they become disabled during service, although they can be moved to another post with same condition. No promotion can be denied because of impairment. So this is the legal framework when it comes to workplace. Legal framework when it comes to workplace.
Thank you, madam, for your insights. Now I call Mr. Aditya Krishna. Aditya Krishna is good in extempore Carnatic music. His audio learning is very high. He learned from his mother, who was a Carnatic music teacher. He can sing many Varnams, Gitams, Astapadi, etc. Presently, he passed 10th class from NIS in 2020 October, pursuing senior secondary. Over to you, Mr. Aditya Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna. Good evening, ma'am. I am Sayari Krishna from Hyderabad, India. I am very happy to be a part of today's panel discussion and to meet famous personalities with kind coaching and guidance from Dr. Gayatri ma'am, MS Acha ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission, I would like to ask a question for our clarification. Whether the legal framework are requirements specifically mandates included of intellectually disabled children or merely seeks including inclusion of broad categories of the disabled in the organization. Thank you, ma'am, for your patience in hearing my question. Please clarify in the interest of all our community. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. So, Aditya, the legal framework seeks inclusion of broad category of disabled in the organization and primarily caters to physical disability. The term person with disability is dynamically defined as person who has long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment and encompasses 21 types of disabilities. It mandates the inclusion of all these broad categories of disabled in both private and government establishments. I hope I answered your question, asked.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Now it is the turn of Mr. Kedar. Mr. Kedar is a winner of President Award. He has translated 30 books in Braille and in different languages in English, Hindi, and Marathi. He was fairly citated by renowned writer and philanthropist Mrs. Sudha Murthy. Over to you, Mr. Kedar.
Kedar, can you unmute?
Which government unit or agency is responsible to verify effectively compliance with the legal requirements of such inclusion in the workplace? How effective is the compliance level?
Thank you so much, Kedar, for this question. So, the Rights to People with Disabilities Act provides for strengthening of Office of Chief Commissioner of Persons with Disabilities and state commissions of disabilities, which will act as regulatory bodies and grievance redressal agencies, and also monitor the implementation of this act. These offices will be assisted by an advisory committee comprising of experts in various disabilities. Many public sector companies fall short of these reservation quotas for specially abled as of 2015. Private sector is moving increasingly inclusive of special needs communities. So also Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment plays a very active role when it comes to inclusion in workplace in terms of compliance. Kedar, I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Mr. Push.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Ms. Prerna to come with the next question. Ms. Prerna, 20 years, is in second year of Bachelor's in Tourism Studies from IGNOU and pursuing diploma from a Prakramika Vocational center. She is an animal lover, passionate about teaching small kids and is actively involved in her elder sister enterprise at Kreative.com. Over to you, Miss Prerna.
Prerna, please unmute yourself.
Yes, Prerna, you are.
Thank you, Mr. Khush. Namaste, madam. What do you feel
Namaste.
are the challenges faced by various organizations in hiring as well as retaining the special needs in the community, in the workplace, and how they can overcome such challenges?
Sure. So I'll give you two perspectives here. The main reason given by employers for not hiring people with disabilities is that they do not have transportation or accommodation facilities for disabled workers. This concern is typically shared by small companies, which understandably do not have as much resources allocated when compared to larger organizations. People with special needs, their safety, their health issues can give rise to fear of litigation, infringement, and legal suits. They are afraid they won't be able to discipline or fire a worker with disabilities. For whether it means for their poor performance because of potential lawsuits, they are concerned about extra time that supervisors or co-workers will need to spend to assist workers with disabilities or special needs. Now, practical strategies for improving, before I go to it, also there are most organizations who fail to accommodate such needs, provide them with some resources, or they are not able to provide same resources as they're able to provide to other employees. This also restricts people with special needs from participating in business and unable to contribute. They feel leaving to be the best option sometimes. This, however, can be overcome by increasing the inclusion of special needs community in workplace by accommodating their needs in the organization's communication platform. Now, many employees fall victim of myths and stereotypes, understanding specially challenged people, and this prevents them from interacting with them properly and ultimately ends up isolating them. To overcome this, educational sessions and team building activities can be conducted, which will inform other employees about the truth and will encourage them to mingle with people with special needs completely. Also, I have personally witnessed teasing and abuse of people with special needs is quite common, and this causes many of them to leave their jobs. Having a proper structure to deal with such problems will encourage the employee to voice their opinion and issues in the workplace. This will definitely boost the inclusivity as well. Some practical strategies for improving hiring and retention of workers with special needs. One, more and better training on their issues for supervisors and managers. Second, a central organization-wide source for expertise on accommodation issues. Third, written guidelines for dealing with disabilities issue, including accommodation requests. Fourth, external resources to get guidance on disability and accommodation issues. Fifth, a diversity specialist who deals with disability issues. Sixth, a written company policy of non-discrimination that includes people with special needs. So this was my answer to your question, Prerna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful explanation, madam. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Rohit. Mr. Rohit Paithi is an energetic, dynamic, and multi-talented person. He is with a good memory, talent, and his music talent is inborn. To add value to his credit, he has participated in Special Olympics held in Abu Dhabi. Over to you, Mr. Rohit.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. Good evening, ma'am. I am Rohit from Abu Dhabi. I have a question. Apart from legal procurements, what kind of incentive from the government can be considered for driving the organization to go for inclusion at workplace?
Thank you so much for this question, Johit. Tax benefits in work of organization can be a good incentive for organization to go inclusion. Another incentive could be social awards in form of most inclusive workplace awarded to organizations that goes for inclusion, as it increases goodwill of the organization in the market to turn helping them into their business. Also, to promote the employment of people with disabilities in organization, the government provides incentives to the employers. One, employers' contribution to the EPF, that is Employees Provident Fund, and ESI, that is Employees State Insurance, will be paid by government for 10 years. Second, 1/3 of the gratuity amount and administrative charges will also be paid by government. Third, in case of employed as an apprentice, the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disability will pay the stipend to the person concerned. Fourth, suitable tax relief is provided to the employer. So these are certain set of incentives from government which motivates organization to go for inclusion at workplace.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Next, we have Mr. Anchar. Mr. Anchar is a great music lover, badminton player, and a hardworking student. I now request Mr. Anchar to ask the next question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Evening.
What benefits you for organizations in adoptions of inclusion at workplace? Please share your views.
Sure. So besides corporate social responsibilities, there are valid business reasons for organization to include number of people with special needs on their roster. One, different perspective. To get the best from the current market situation, an organization needs different perspectives. People with special needs will be able to give organization that extra edge in thinking of sharing perception, which might be otherwise overlooked. Also, untapped motivated talent. People with special needs are untapped resources so far. They have the time, talent, and desire to accomplish their goals. They drive them to put in their best efforts, especially since they have to prove themselves in their work situation. Third, gap in roles where this pool of employees may be more successful. So studies in US have provided that employees with special needs do extremely specially well in roles within facilities management, energy management and water treatment, elevator maintenance, general construction, repairs and renovation, and common custodial and ground services. In many countries, there are recruitment gaps in these services. People with special needs can fill in this place. While this might not apply directly in Indian context, but such studies can be conducted internally within the organization to identify gaps or roles that may be a fitment for differently abled professionals. Also, adoption of inclusion at workplace offer the following benefits. One, a bigger pool of talent is generated, which can be helpful in bringing different views and ideas on business and yield better business outcomes. People with special needs are observed to have higher retention rate and lower absenteeism rate. This helps organization in saving employee turnover. Specially able people can help cater to the needs of other specially able people the best, and this allows the organization to cater the needs of a broad range of customers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Achal.
Many thanks, madam, for your explanation. Now we have Mr. Venkatesh. Mr. Venkatesh loves sports and plays a variety of games. He loves to travel and meet the people. He can speak 4 different languages. Over to Mr. Venkatesh.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. Good evening, madam. Can you please
Good
suggest
evening.
some changes of the organizations will have to undertake internally to accommodate special needs community as their workforce? What changes the organization will have to undertake internally to accommodate special needs community as their workforce?
Definitely. Thank you so much for this question, Venkatesh. So first and foremost change that the organization needs to take in this is in its infrastructure by making workspace more accessible. Second, the organization also needs to undertake sensitization trainings and awareness programs to understand the special needs of this particular community. Third, the organization would require to make adequate arrangements such as on-call doctor, transport facilities, etc. to accommodate special needs for this particular community. Also, certain other changes the organization can take internally is keeping in mind inclusivity as priority in the hiring process by making it easier for people with special needs to apply for the job. Providing educational programs, like I said, sensitivity to the other employees so that they can understand each other and people with wide range of capabilities can work together. Also, acceptance and accommodation of disabilities needs to be prioritized. Employees should be comfortable enough to disclose their disabilities and the organization should be accommodative of them. All employees should be paid equally regardless of disabilities and compensation should be provided if needed. Periodic review of process should be done to evolve it and to get closer to the goals of promoting special needs culture in all aspects of the organization culture. As an expert can be hired for help in cases the organization needs further assistance with inclusion. I hope this answers your question, Venkatesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Mr. Harshpant to ask the next question. Mr. Harshpant is a class 11 student. He is a computer enthusiast and loves to play basketball. Over to you, Mr. Harsh.
Good evening, ma'am. Given the vulnerability of special need, what mechanisms should be put in the place in organizations to prevent their bullying and abuse?
Thank you for your question, Harsh. So, to prevent the bullying or abuse of people with special needs, a structured process to complain about such issues along with community that oversees such matter can be put in place. The community can consist of a variety of people, including people with special needs, so that the decisions made are not harsh or biased. A community that consists of people with special needs can be established so that they can feel confident and approach someone for help in case if it is needed. An internal complaints committee must be put in place so that it is helpful. The community can also require no strict toleration, requires a strict no tolerance policy, which can be more effective. So this is what I would suggest to put up such mechanisms in organization to prevent bullying or abuse. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you, madam.
Yes.
Now I request Mr. Abhishek to come up with next question. Mr. Abhishek Raghav Vendran is a good classical singer. He is also good in coloring and the artwork. The floor is yours, Mr. Abhishek.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Abhishek from Abu Dhabi. Could you please explain what is the role of parents, caregivers, and trainers of special needs community in equipping them to fit into the workplace? Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. So Abhishek, their roles, parents, caretakers, and trainers play a crucial role in shaping the specially challenged people as they're responsible for providing the person with access to education, and basic healthcare facilities that can accommodate their needs. In the case a person is being teased or abused, a strong backing will help them to learn to take a stand for themselves in front of other people and calmly tackle such issues. So I think this is where they play an extremely crucial role, so that they can equip the entire community to fit into the workplace.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Over to Mr. Kush.
Thank you, madam, for your insights. Next, I call upon Mr. Ajit Bala Subramanian, who is currently pursuing graduation in hospitality management and catering technology at the Mumbai. He is an advocate for disability and has recently done a research project for his college titled Equipment Practices for the Intellectually Differently Abled Persons in the Hospitality Industry. He would like to ask you few questions. Over to you, Mr. Ajit.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. Thank you, Mr. Kush. Good evening, respected ma'am. I would like you to let us know how a person with challenges needs to be treated at workplace. Please let us know the do's and don'ts. Thank you.
Sure. So let's start with some do's. Always learn about their disabilities and special needs ahead of time. Plan for things such as where the individual will work, their specific duties, whom they will work with. Make sure all equipment of office is set up to accommodate their disabilities. If they are blind, make sure that the Braille program is installed in the computer. If they are deaf, make sure that the computer has a screen reader installed on it. Know their limitations, what they can do and cannot do, and try your best to be sensitive to their needs. Make necessary accommodations so that the employee can function and do their job to the best of their ability.
Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
to the best. No, I am still continuing with it. Ajit, don't worry.
Okay, ma'am.
Include them in all activities, making minor adjustments as necessary. Always give them equal pay for equal work. Always let the employees express themselves as best he or she can. Always treat the individual with respect and dignity. Expect quality work and no excuses. Treat them like anyone else who works for you. Preferential treatment should be used only in exceptional circumstances. Try to avoid it if at all possible. Now, some don't. Never leave them out of any activity. Never assume they don't understand or they don't want to participate. Never call them names or label them or ignore them. Never fire them for manifestation of their disability. Find a way to compromise or everyone can work together, so that everyone can work together in harmony. Never assume anything. Always ask permission first, especially if you are going to touch the individual or if you're going to move the equipment or personal belongings. So these are some quick do's and don'ts one can keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Next, we have Ms. Jyoti Ghosh, who has completed her 12th standard with 84% through National Open Schooling. She has been learning Hindustani classical music for several years and have been performing in various music concerts. Over to you, Ms. Jyoti.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Jyoti Ghosh from Pune. I wish to ask this question. Can you share any personal experience, good or bad, regarding people with special needs at workplace? How did you feel about it? Please, can you share this with us?
Sure. So I remember there was a colleague who had learning disability and he would learn anything new at a much slower pace, but other than other people. When he had just joined the team, no one was willing to teach him, and those who did would get irritated and bully him. Many times I have also heard that, heard them conversing about him behind his back about how slow or dumb he was. It was becoming increasingly necessary for officers to have a good system to deal with such issues so that people with special needs feel like they are part of the team. Another case has been where I have seen in a video on social networking websites, a person on a wheelchair was struggling with getting off a bus, and the people behind her were making fun of her and passing around bad comments. Then a person who was passing by helped her off with his friend. In the end, everyone around realized their mistake and applauded for him. If people learn to help people who are in need, can solve most of the problems in the world. Also, I once had an interaction with specially abled person in a bank. So they were the teller there, and it was refreshing to see them happy and productive in their work life. There were small adjustments, made, like the ramp was being made for the employee. And upon inquiry, I also found out that every employee went through a sensitization training. There were other adjustments such as internal help, complaint committee, to ensure that there is no such bullying or teasing situation that comes up. And even if it comes up, there is a right mechanism to bring it to the notice. Also, the organization recognized the needs of employee and accommodated them so that to provide healthy work environment. So this also means inclusion at workplace and productivity for organization. So this is the kind of inclusion that every organization should strive for.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now we have Mr. Aditya Shah, who is a double graduate Bachelor of Computer Application and a BMM Bachelor of Mass Media. He is doing an internship at 3G Hospital as data entry officer and counseling patients. He is a member of Lions Club. He loves sports like billiards, cricket, swimming, etc. Also loves traveling to various countries. He received the Appreciation Award and Trophy from Ministry of Social Justice, Government of Maharashtra. Over to you, Mr. Aditya Shah.
Thank you, Push, for introducing me and beautifully describing my achievements. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Aditya.
I'm Aditya Shah. Thank you for answering all my friends' queries, and you have explained all the questions very well for us to understand. I also wish to ask my last question. Ma'am, can you cite some good examples of special needs inclusion in workplace?
Sure, Aditya. Thank you so much for your question. So, one, make your digital properties accessible. So, digital properties such as website, mobile app, documents, maybe the first point of contact a person with special needs has with your organization or business. So, make sure the website is complete, is compliant, and individuals with special needs may engage as smoothly as possible with the mobile app. Also have an accessible entrance. It is possible for individuals with special needs to enter your restaurants, retail stores, or customer service center customer service store. Wheelchairs should be able to utilize a safe ramp, and people who are blind or have low vision should be able to utilize the tactical indicators to navigate their ways in and out. Third, making sure make your service easily accessible, providing an accessible entrance, but not making doing business with your accessible defeats the point entirely. So people with disabilities or special needs like to do as many things independently as others. So ensuring that there are services which are accessible to them. So once they arrive at location, they can conduct business on their own, including interacting with reception desk or conducting transactions at the counter. Making facilities available. Now, amenities like restroom, and water coolers could be accessible to other people. But people with special needs, since they are able to use them once they are at the premises, just like other customers, clients, or workers, it can aggravate the situation if they are unable to enter the office by accessible doors, but making it incredibly difficult for them to spend time there. Make accommodations. Now, people with special needs may require modified working environment in order to perform their best. For example, if a person with a vision handicap needs a screen reader, a person with a hearing disability requires an interpreter to attend a training. Someone who has difficulty in typing with their hands may require dictation software, or someone requires certain flexibility in work schedule. So making these customized arrangements at workplace will be more accessible to people with empowerment. Also, work with disability consultants. As I mentioned previously, developing an inclusive workplace is no longer merely a social decision. It is also now a legal decision. So as a result, it is preferable to work with a consultant who can undertake a certified audit of the organization's policy, processes, and infrastructure, and suggest recommendations according to standards and best practices. A good example of special needs inclusion in workplace is the One Social Group. It is a Spanish company whose business consists of 40% of people with special needs. And Indian companies that are inclusive or special needs community are Lemon Tree Hotels, ITC Hotels, Capgemini, IBM, Wipro, Tata, Accenture, Cafe Coffee Days. And of course, there are a lot of other cafes which are very specifically for open to hire and work with people with special needs. They are only and only specifically for them. So I think Bombay has one particular cafe where there's only people with special needs working. There's nobody else. I also remember there is one particular mall in Bombay where a girl with a special need. I think she is a girl with autism. She started with her own cafe, where she is serving people, and it is so beautiful to see how she got independent, getting her things in place. So yes, the organization at their level needs to take care of such things in mind. And thank you so much, Aditya, for your question. I hope I answered it well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I now welcome our special guest, Madam Jharna Jagtiani, to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Gayatri ji, for this particular opportunity to interact with such amazing talent. And it really means a lot. So thank you so much. I never thought that it would be such an inspiring session today. More than anything, I learned that yes, it's not our physical disability that stops us from moving forward. It's all about accepting things and moving forward, and not only inclusion at workplace but also inclusion in society is very, very important. So I think thank you so much for helping me realize that, Gayatri. And also thank you so much, everybody, for inspiring me to be more vigilant about my people around me, being more alert, being more sensitive. Also, I'm extremely, I don't know how do I express it, but it was amazing to hear the kind of achievements you have done. It just makes me feel that yes, I need to do a little more in my life as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for inspiring me today. I definitely look forward to work with all of you in future, and would definitely want to learn from you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jharna ma'am. Really, thanks a lot. Just a recap, like addressing on the government framework. What are the opportunities and what are the opportunities from the government side to people with special needs? What are the challenges faced at workplace? Yes, truly we face those challenges, and also how it has to be addressed. It was so well explained, because this is one thing which we are continuously having. Though from the training side we are giving them, parent side they are fully cooperating, but still there is a challenge we face at the workplace, and how that needs to be addressed. Yes ma'am, it was well explained, and of course I'm going to make a note of that and take it further. I think Jharna ma'am lost connection, so we'll just hold on for a minute for her to come back. Actually, just check if ma'am is there. No, she's lost the connection. Okay. Okay. We will wait until, she comes back. Is she there?
Gayatri ma'am.
To be on mute, Venkatesh, the formal is to complete. Okay, thank you. So Jharna ma'am is back.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Stupid technical issue.
I understand that happens. So ma'am, as I was telling, definitely I'm going to make a note of how the challenges needs to be addressed, because we needed to take it further. Of course, benefit of having an inclusive workplace. Again, it was so dear to my heart the way you had explained, and the do's and don'ts were the best topic, because this is something which needs to be taken care of by the society also. Thank you so much, ma'am, for agreeing instantly and addressing our children. And I must say, my bunch of professionals today, batch one, you did an amazing work. So professional you all were, and I feel so proud of you. You know, my children, I really feel so proud of you today. It was really great. And thank you, ma'am. I request IT team to kindly share the certificate of gratitude. And also, ma'am, one of our professional, she would be making a handmade gift for your sake, and she would be sending it to you as a part of our, token of gratitude. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am, today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I now request Mr. Hushraf to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
We have come to the end of this wonderful panel discussion. It was indeed a great session. We are extremely thankful to Madam Jharna Jagtiani for consenting to be the special guest. We are highly grateful to Madam for sharing various inputs on inclusive workplace. We thank our workplace communication professionals for hosting this wonderful session as part of the final assessment. Kudos to the entire team, the backing of parents, the super moms, and super dads of our young champions is always an inspiration to us. Our deepest thanks to all of them for their continuous trust in us and for their encouragement. We thank you all for joining this session and encouraging our professionals. I now request everyone to kindly stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Requesting you all to kindly be seated. Yes, Mr. Khusrav.
Once again, many thanks to all of you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Khusrav. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. Special thanks to our chief guest, Jharna ma'am, for being with us and sharing great insight about inclusive. And next week we will be having panel number 2. The topic of discussion will be online, offline workplace, how beneficial, what are the challenges, how we are going to go. For that we have our second professionals come. Venkatesh to be on mute. Yeah, thank you. So that would be taken by Ms. Janvi. The whole session will be hosted, and I request the same support, same encouragement from all my professionals and parents. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, Jharna ma'am, and namaste everyone.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Just a minute, Venkatesh.
Namaste, ma'am.
Ma'am, with your permission, can I stop the recording?
Yes, please, ma'am. No problem. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So official recording stops here.